We just got done with the Lean Construction Institute Northern California Community Practice, and we were focused on target value delivery, starting in design through delivery. And I'm joined here with Josh, who's working in one of my most exciting software companies that I've ever seen. Like, his friend Elijah found me on LinkedIn. We connected at the AGC conference. We barely got to talk.
It was sad actually.
So sad. But then we joined into a partnership because they're bringing Scrum at scale to construction projects to help project managers with some of the hardest things they have to do. And I'll just let Josh give us your hot take on this event and our community.
Yeah, totally. I mean, maybe I'll speak to the community first, Felipe. I think that it's very difficult for, especially like operationally focused contractors and owners that are trying to make projects go better, actually sit down and have honest conversations between each other because they're too busy trying to make the projects work, right? And so to actually have an accessible event where people like are really thoughtful with each other is like super valuable. And so I love being here. It's totally great vibes. And you know, based on recommendations from good people that you know, I try to go to lots of events, and this one was uniquely cordial and uniquely good.
As you can tell from his name tag, he's a paid participant, which I love.
I did pay. That was
freaking nice, because I told him just come for free. So like if you're watching this, like sometimes if you just ask me, I've got free spots that I'll just give. And Josh was like, no, I'll pay. And I was like, good job.
The secret is that I had already paid before he made that offer. And I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get the money back from LCI National. Although if you have any ideas, I'll take it.
This is true. There's no refunds. So you actually got to engage in the content of what was going on.
TVD.
And you asked some really good questions. And I even elbowed my 14-year-old was in the audience next to me. It's like, that's Josh from Roger. And like, he's totally helping. He's listening and he's engaged. So do you remember what the question you asked was?
Totally. I mean, and I think that this is driven not by my experience in construction, but with my experience in software, which is, you know, so the presenter had put up a slide that showed ranking different, priorities on the project with a bunch of numbers, right? And we've tried to do things like this at Roger, but the reality is that you can come up with any story you want to justify a number if you have a secondary agenda. And the real value and what we have tried to do to make our processes more lean, right? Yeah. And to make our operation more effective is actually reduce the numbers that we generate and focus on building trust, building collaboration between members of the team, getting the right people at the table early enough to try and like actually have those conversations in an effective way, and the numbers for us have gotten in the way. Now, what the presenter said, and I totally agree with this, is that when you're trying to manage like a gigantic set of many organizations, you need the numbers to get people to have the conversations. And so the act of generating the numbers creates the conversations that actually then go and drive the correct value. And so that was like, I thought that was like a spot on and insightful answer, and that's probably what I would do if I was trying to like do TVD on a very large project.
No, that's really good. And I love, like, this is the type of community we have. In the events that we come together, all of our presenters open the dialogue, interrupt at any time, ask questions. We've seen that time and time again, and that's my favorite way. So 100%. Even before the event, Josh, it was so noisy in there, I couldn't even talk to the person next to me. And then after the event, it was so noisy and chattery, I could barely have a conversation with Glenn, who was like this close to me. What were some of the conversations that you had generating that chatter so I couldn't hear the people next to me?
Well, Felipe, I have to admit that I got stuck in a 3.5-hour traffic jam before the event, and so I didn't get here.
Welcome to East Bay.
It's unbelievable. I actually flew in just for your event because I was so excited about it, to learn about, lean construction.
What about after the event? Afterwards? What were some of the things that people were talking about after?
I think that, I won't name the hospital network, but I was talking to somebody who was at a hospital network that everybody would know. And he was speaking like very eloquently to how this organization that was actually one of the pioneering organizations of integrated project delivery has like sort of regressed away from some of their founding principles, and how he's trying to take that back. And so he was like really honest with me, actually, right? And I like super appreciated that, because I would hope that, honestly, you know, we as a software company, we're not perfect. And I would hope that my employees and all of the partners that work with us in a really involved way would come to events in their own hemispheres and speak very honestly about the things that they're trying to solve. So he did, so it was great to hear that.
Oh, I love hearing that we've got a space where people are being honest. When I was coming up in construction over 20 years ago, there was almost no transparency about how things worked. And even today we heard about people talking about pro forma business cases and return on investment.
Yeah.
These phrases were never talked about in the first 15, almost 20 years that I was in the business. It was all about hit your numbers, make your marks, and somehow it all worked. And we've come to devolve that and see that that doesn't work. These non-integrated siloed approaches don't work. And I mean, you hit it on the head with the bringing people together, having an honest conversation, maybe generating numbers to capture something is so powerful. And I think what I like about your software in particular, number one, it's all about Scrum, which I love. But two is that it creates a visual to get it off of my mouth and onto a screen or a dashboard so that people can react
100%.
to the things. Like you mentioned the numbers. If I put a number in front of you and say, hey, customer satisfaction right now is only 20%. Look at his reaction. Now we can like talk.
Right.
But if I would have told you like, hey, all your customers hate your shit. Now you're gonna get offended, and it's like now we're like gonna
we're
fight.
butt heads.
Right. So like
Totally.
like software, you know, basic whiteboards, these types of things, or even the slides, the visuals people use, have made things different and having different conversations.
100%.
And on your side, I'm really curious, Josh, like you have a lot of data, but from the customer's perspective, what are you seeing customers doing with the visuals that they're getting from Roger? Because I think it dovetails nicely with the TVD approach at a more micro level with just one team.
You know, what we have found, Felipe, is that on any project of, say, 20 people, there are 3 people, let's say, that are never going to adopt your processes. They're never going to pick up Scrum. They're always going to fight it. And then there are 3 people that are going to drive Scrum, right? And then there are the rest, you know, whatever, 20 minus 6, or 20 minus 6, 14.
14, yeah.
There's 14 people who will go either way. If you use sticky notes, you're gonna get 6 of those 14 to get in Scrum, and so you end up with 9. If you use Roger, you're gonna end up with more like 11 or 12 of those 14 that are influenceable to be like driven into a process. And we've seen this now time and time again on projects. If you actually make a tool that is scalable and can be driven and shared with different people, then you start to see like real operational change. So we're working on a project in Southern California. You know, it's like a 9-figure hospital project, and we went from, you know, we saw these numbers in action, right? We went from seeing 50 sticky notes created per week to 170 Roger tasks created per week. And we went from seeing 6 people engaged with Scrum to seeing 15 people engaged with Scrum. So it's really exciting for us to see. And you know who taught that? Who taught that team how to do Scrum, Felipe?
I think it might have been me.
Not I think, it was you. So you get a lot of the credit there.
Yeah, thank you. That. And I just want to let you get the last word. You know, what's the big aha from you based on today? You flew all this way. You participate in our community. What's like the thing you're taking back to Elijah?
You know, I think for me, you know, we're a software company and we need to meet contractors. That's our goal. And I think the thing that I will tell Elijah tomorrow morning is I will say, dude, the way to meet people better is to be face-to-face with them, see them in person, get out to the events, you know, get in your car, get on a plane, you know, sit in the 3 hours of traffic, because actually spending time with people is like face-to-face is pretty hard to beat.
Thank you, Josh.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Roger that.